Please excuse this interruption.
Would the following students please report to the guidance office at this time?
Jamison Bell, Samuel Bell, Eric Buxala, Sarah Bird, Jonah Bird, Adriana Deeb, Sophia Dixon, Jordan Frasca, Linda Freeman, Tyler Godfrey, Ivy Huang, Madeline Finks, Samantha Protopappas, Keegan Ritchie, Olivia Ritchie, Nicholas Ritchie, and Allison Silva.
Please report to the guidance office at this time.
Okay, so we have everyone. So hopefully you've all sort of figured out why you're here, but we just wanted to say a big congratulations. You are the top 10% of the class of 2020. So hooray! You all have so much to be proud of. And I know that this is a really difficult and unique situation, that you've each weathered this circumstance in really unique and incredible ways. And we thank you for all the ways you're kind of showing our Triton pride in your own ways. Good evening and welcome to the class of 2020 Top 10% Honors Banquet. Obviously, this virtual edition is not quite how we... Yes,
Did you
sweetie?
know that the brain is the most complex thing in the universe?
Wow, thanks, sweet girl.
Welcome.
I'm kind of in the middle of something. Obviously, this virtual edition is not quite how we thought this...
Look at my cool Lego truck I made.
That's awesome, bud. Thanks for sharing. I'm kind of in the middle of something, though. This virtual edition is not quite how we thought the evening would...
Mom, look, a super slimy worm.
Thanks, guys. I'm still doing my video. It's not quite how we thought this evening would...
Are we ready for some good news?
Guys, wrong show. Good evening, and welcome to the class of 2020 Top 10% Honors Banquet. Obviously, this
Mommy,
would...
what are you doing in my closet?
Okay, let's try this again. I think we might need a change of scenery. Ah, now that's more like it. Good evening. Welcome to the class of 2020 Top 10% Honors Banquet. I'm Megan Ober, Director of Guidance. Obviously, this virtual edition of our program is not quite how we expected our evening to go. During this remarkable time, there have been many traditions and ceremonies that we have had to adapt. And I won't lie either. Earlier this year, I was fretting over how in the world I was going to do the banquet seating chart for a top 10% that includes 2 sets of twins and a set of triplets. That must be a record somewhere. That said, I would have gladly figured out seating so that we could all be together to recognize this worthy group of students. But I also know that the evening we have ahead for you will still be incredibly special, personal, and celebratory. First off, a huge thank you in advance to our TV production teacher, Mr. Bob Lathrop, who has done the amazing work of putting together this recorded program. We truly could not have done this without him. Thank you, Bob. So tonight, we are honoring the Triton students who hold the distinction of the top 10% of the graduating class of 2020. Normally, we would have our honor graduates stand to be recognized, and while we aren't all in the same room, I'd ask that we still do so from our homes. Honor graduates, as I read your name, please stand and remain standing. Jamison Bell, Samuel Bell, Eric Buxala, Jonah Bird, Sarah Bird, Adriana Deeb, Sophia Dixon, Jordan Frasca, Linda Freeman, Tyler Godfrey, Ivy Huang, Madeline Finks, Samantha Protopappas, Keegan Ritchie, Nicholas Ritchie, Olivia Ritchie, and Allison Silva. Congratulations to all. You may be seated. In years past, I've opened this evening with an anecdote about my own children, which is why this year I did have some fun including them. At 8 and 6, they're at an age of constant discovery and excitement. While those interruptions earlier were obviously a little bit staged, they are also true to real life right now. I'm sure all of us can relate to this new balance we are holding. Being home with family, keeping on top of work and school presents challenges, but it also presents opportunities to connect and learn in new ways. As a parent, I have really enjoyed seeing how my kids learn, the areas they struggle with, and the topics that make them light up. Children are a great reminder of the joy of learning and discovering the world around us. As parents know, there is nothing more amazing than watching your children learn and grow, and that is what we are honoring tonight. While I am still at the relative beginning of that parent journey, it isn't lost on me how quickly time passes and how they change. Honor graduates, I'm sure your parents can remember similar moments and anecdotes from your own childhood that seem long ago and just like yesterday all at once. They have stories of your milestones and funny quotes that started to give them a glimpse of who you would become, of the ways that you would learn, of the interests that would blossom into passions and purpose. As tonight celebrates, it is clear you are young men and women who are curious and driven and inspired to discover and create. In fact, discovering and then creating is what we are sending you off to do in the world. So tonight is about the beautiful journey to this point. What is wonderful about this evening is that while the purpose is to honor our students who have very clearly learned and discovered much throughout their high school careers, it is also a night filled with inspiration. Our honor graduates have asked teachers and coaches who have inspired them to speak on their behalf. In turn, these professionals are able to share the ways in which they have been inspired by their students. To me, this night is a perfect example of all that is good and right in our education system, and I know we will all walk away with a little inspiration and definitely some Triton pride. Though we can't all be together in the same room, I would ask that all participants still engage with the program. Please do take pictures, and if you're willing, share those with me. You can also use the hashtag TritonHonors2020 throughout the evening, as well as participate in the chat on YouTube. Honors graduates, a bag should have been delivered to you which contains your honors swag, if you will. You will have a gift from Triton High School in recognition of your accomplishments, as well as the various honors regalia that will be part of your graduation attire. But for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the evening as we hear the accolades of Triton's finest. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jamie Bell, and I value a Triton education because of its focus not only on academics, but also on well-roundedness and extracurriculars, which is why I've asked Miss A to speak for me tonight. Unsurprisingly, some of my fondest memories at Triton are associated with athletics and the relationships I built over the past 4 years, so I thought it was fitting to ask one of my favorite coaches to speak on my behalf. Even though most of the time she's laughing less at my jokes and more at my expense, I'm grateful for her sense of humor and for always keeping me humble. While I don't doubt she'll take this opportunity to poke some fun, I'm going to take the high road and say that I'm extremely grateful for the past 4 years. Although I've known Miss A in a purely athletic context, she's taught me so many valuable traits that are applicable in both academics and the real world, like integrity, perseverance, and the importance of having good work ethic, to name a few. I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to play for her the past 4 years, as it has truly been one of my favorite parts of high school. So without further ado, I present Miss A.
As I begin this speech for Jamie, I would like to share with you why it would seem to be a natural that she would ask me to speak for her. We have similarities. They are, she enjoys classic rock. Her walkout song would be Walk This Way by Aerosmith. My walkout song would be Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles. Jamie doesn't drink coffee, and Jamie loves a physical challenge. I guess that is it. I'm now starting to second guess myself as to why Jamie would ask me to speak for her, because it now appears that our differences are much greater than our similarities. Let me share with you 5 different characteristic traits of Jamie Bell. Jamie is a planner. Jamie is patient. Jamie is a musician. Jamie is unassuming, and Jamie is intelligent. Number 1, Jamie the planner. She doesn't wait until the last minute. Jamie had asked me to speak for her at the honors banquet, this evening, back in November following our field hockey season. I had mentioned to her at the time that it was a bit early for the invite, and if there was perhaps a chance that she wouldn't fall in the top 10%. Jamie looked at me, smiled, tilted her head, and shyly said she didn't think so. I don't enjoy giving public speeches. However, I would never consider not doing what Jamie would ask me to do, so I of course said I would be honored. Jamie the patient one. She would tell stories of how her brother Sam would poke along in the mornings getting ready for school every day. Jamie would be in the car, in the driveway, ready to go, and Sam would just be getting out of bed and heading for the shower. I can only imagine the frustration of this whole situation, and I am sure that Mom and Dad Bell will not miss this routine one bit. Jamie the musician. I had the pleasure to take a group of 8 students to NES this spring for Read Across America. When they had all finished reading, and as we passed the playground on our way to the van, the whole group begged to go and play one last chance on the playground. How could I possibly say no? So with a nod of my head, they ran off to the swings, slide, monkey bars, and field to play. After a few minutes, Jamie discovered a block of wood that had metal strips attached to it that resembled a xylophone. Well, that was it for Jamie, as she became fixated with it and couldn't leave until she mastered how to play a bit of Chopin. I do recall there was one strip of metal that was not quite tuned to hit the note C, and boy, didn't that frustrate her. Jamie is very unassuming. A perfect example of this is on the day of the parade for both the valedictorian and the salutatorian. Jamie was told by her parents, as a way to get her out to the parade and keep the element of surprise, that their neighbors across the street were having a birthday parade celebration for 8-year-old twins. As the fire trucks and police cars led a long string of administrators and faculty, Jamie was clapping and singing happy birthday until her mom told her, "Jamie, this parade is for you." And Jamie is intelligent. Well, this is an obvious comment, I realize, but need I remind you that I am talking about our differences. It must be hard to be so bright and have a normal conversation, because sometimes it's a bit awkward. I remember one specific conversation with Jamie about hand warmers. Our team plays until November, and the weather can get quite chilly, and on one particular game, a player had brought hand warmers for the team. After the game, we were chatting and so thankful for the hand warmers, and I had made the comment, "These things are amazing. I wonder how they work." Well, the wheels in Jamie's head began spinning, and then she began to explain, "Well, it's the chemical reaction of the blah, 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 blah." As my eyes glazed for a moment, I had to politely interrupt her and say, "Jamie, I don't really want to know how they work." I am so pleased to be able to share with you a bit of who Jamie Bell truly is, a well thought out, patient, kind, unassuming, musically talented, and bright young lady. I am honored to present Triton's valedictorian and top 10% graduate of the class of 2020, Jamie Bell. Jamie, I will truly miss you next year.
Hey everyone, I'm Keegan Ritchie. I'm honored to be a part of this ceremony tonight. I would like to thank all of the teachers and staff at Triton. I have learned a lot the last 4 years, and I am very grateful to everyone who has helped me along the way. All of my teachers were so invested and really wanted to see me succeed. I now feel very prepared to continue my education at Northeastern University. I have many fond memories from my time at Triton. I was a member of multiple extracurricular activities, including the cross-country and track teams. Being a part of these teams was a great experience. I enjoyed training to become a better runner, and I always had fun with my teammates and friends. I had a lot of success in the sport, exceeding my goals and expectations. A lot of that is thanks to Coach Gilbert, my speaker tonight. Coach Gilbert was an excellent coach with vast knowledge about running and training. He pushed me to be my very best, both on and off the track. He taught me many valuable life lessons, including leadership, sportsmanship, and perseverance. I'm very thankful for everything he has done for me, and it'll be sad to no longer be a member of his teams. Thank you for everything, Coach.
Hello, everybody. It's such an honor to be able to be part of the 2020 Triton High School Annual Honors Banquet, despite the fact that this year we're doing it virtually. I do have to say that I feel a whole heck of a lot more comfortable sitting down here in my basement at my desk than I would at the lectern at the Burroughs, and so we will see how this goes, and I may be thinking about offering Triton a chance to come to my house next year, and we'll all do our speeches down here, because I have to tell you, this is pretty comfortable. Again, much better than standing in front of all of you. And I would like to say that it would be nice to be able to say, it's so good to see you all, but you'll have to make do with all of you seeing me, and then I will look forward to sitting and watching all of you in your speeches on June 3rd. I'm really looking forward to that. The Honors Banquet is something that we do each and every year to honor our finest students and all the amazing things that they do in the classroom at Triton High School. As has happened to me occasionally in the past, this year I have been asked to speak in honor of somebody that I never had in the classroom or never got to know as a student. But this young man, Keegan Ritchie, is somebody that I really came to know quite well, probably better than I would have known had he simply been a student of mine, as his coach for cross country and track and field over the past 4 years. As his coach, I got to know Keegan and spent a whole heck of a lot of time with him. We spent days and weeks and months together at Triton, both at high school and college campuses all over the state of Massachusetts. We spent time together in the autumn, in the beautiful fall weather. We ran together in freezing cold and rain and snow. We spent many afternoons along with his teammates out in our stadium on the track in March and April with that bitter cold wind coming off of the marsh. That wasn't fun. We've experienced the highs of really big winds and the lows of crushing losses. And these experiences really are how you get to know somebody. And I can tell you that though I'm a teacher first and foremost, in my life, some of the best relationships I've ever created with young people have been through the experience of coaching them, and I'm so happy to say that I had that experience with Keegan Ritchie. The growth that I have seen in him over the past 4 years is nothing short of remarkable, and it really is what any teacher and coach would want to see in the young people that they're working with. Keegan's a distance runner, pure and simple. His primary race, while he ran many different distances, to me his primary race will always be considered the 2-mile run. And Keegan ran that race faster than anybody in Triton High School history. Muhammad Ali was once quoted as saying, "The fight is won and lost far away from witnesses." Behind the lines, in the gym, and out there on the road, long before I danced under those lights. And that was Keegan in a nutshell. Okay. 1 year ago, in the middle of a season in which he helped lead the Triton boys track and field team to their first ever state championship, Keegan broke our school record in the 2-mile run, a record that was originally set 45 years prior to that night in 1974. He did it under the stadium lights on a warm May night at Regis College in Weston. Okay, but the truth of the matter is, Keegan set that record on the roads of Byfield, Massachusetts. Okay, he broke that record on hot afternoons in August. He broke that record on freezing Saturday mornings in January and February. He did it in our stadium, on our track. He did it in our gym. He did it on the hills of our neighborhood, the hills that we all drive over every single day without really noticing. And so that 2-mile record run took 9 minutes and 53 seconds. But the fact of the matter is that run took 3 years to accomplish. And it's been my experience that the great distance runners make great students and wind up becoming successful people. The discipline and the commitment required to do the things that these people do is simply too much for a lot of people. To achieve at the level that he did, Keegan ran weeks in which he ran 40 to 50 miles, many of them. Many of us know individuals who make the commitment to train for a 5K or maybe even a marathon. In his 10 seasons of running at Triton High School, Keegan regularly ran 10 to 12 races of at least 2 miles. And he did that within a span of about 8 weeks each time. And so that physical grind is absolutely brutal. And the mental grind is worse. And but again, it has been my experience that those skills and those habits, the commitment to being the best that you can possibly be, the commitment to pushing yourself ever harder is a habit of the mind more than a physical habit. And it's a habit that cuts across disciplines. And I know that, and I've come to believe that, but in this case, in Keegan's case, I decided to confirm it by going to 2 people who I consider to be expert sources. And so this fall, Keegan's going to begin his next phase of his life and his career at Northeastern University, where he is planning to embark on preparation for a career as an engineer. And I know that Keegan has what it takes to be successful in a challenging discipline like that at such a prestigious university. But I went and I confirmed it. I spoke to Mrs. Kathy Norton, Keegan's calculus teacher, and she calls Keegan a disciplined worker. Quote, very mature in all that he does, a quiet leader and role model in class. She told me that she thinks Keegan will, quote, kick butt in engineering due to his dedication, intelligence, character, and strong sense of self. And to back that up, I went to Mr. Ian McBee, Keegan's chemistry teacher, and he agreed and went even further, telling me that he believes Keegan will be successful despite the fact that he killed off his Lego bungee jumper. He tells me that, Mr. McGee tells me that many AP chemistry students, as a final end of the year project, attempt to make their own rocket fuel. And that Keegan was the first to make a fuel strong enough to blow the nose off of his rocket on the launch pad. Do I need to say anything more about Keegan's readiness to go off and study engineering and the bright future that he must have? But in all seriousness, Keegan Ritchie is the complete package. Right? He's a talented athlete, and more importantly, he's a good person and a hard worker. He knows what he wants, and he's willing to do what it takes to get there. I will always remember that laid-back personality of Keegan's, that easygoing smile of his that meshed so well with his desire to work hard and to compete. And his days of competing are over, but I know that this ability to get up every single day and meet the challenges of the day with a smile on his face are going to take him further and further and anywhere that he wants to go. So it's been a great honor and pleasure and privilege to work with him. And before I end, I would like to just congratulate the Ritchie family. What a remarkable group of people that they are. And it was just so much fun working with all 3 of the Ritchie kids. And all of you honors graduates, congratulations on a wonderful, wonderful job that you have done over your 4 years. And best of luck. And Keegan, it's been my privilege to be your friend. And I really know our friendship is going to continue. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'll end by presenting to you honors graduate of the class of 2020, number 3 in his graduating class, Keegan Ritchie. Thanks, everybody, and stay safe and healthy out there.
Hi everyone, I'm Maddie Pfingst. I'd like to start off by congratulating my fellow classmates who have worked so hard these past 4 years and who are also being celebrated tonight. I'd also like to thank everyone who has helped put this together. I think I can say on behalf of everyone here that it means a lot to still be able to do this tonight. My time at Triton was truly a blessing. I've met so many amazing people, taken both challenging and fun classes, and have made memories that will last me long after graduation. One of my favorite memories was getting to pie Mr. Colby in the face in front of the whole school at homecoming earlier this year. Throughout my years at Triton, I have learned where hard work can take you and what benefits can come from it, especially during my time in Community Service Club and as a class officer. My junior year, I took Honors Pre-Calculus taught by Mr. Colby. He created a classroom environment that focused on both academics and fun, and I was never afraid to ask a question or answer something wrong. I felt so comfortable and welcome in his classroom that myself and a lot of my friends came back every study of senior year to catch up and do some homework. Mr. Colby has helped me grow as a better student and person, and I'd like to thank him along with the teachers at Triton for helping me get to where I am today. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mr. Colby, and it is my pleasure to speak for Maddie tonight. But before I start, Maddie said, and I have email confirmation, I only need to say one nice thing about her, and that would make her happy. Anything else is fair game. We'll see how I manage. I first met Maddie when she was in my class, and within the first 20 minutes, she had slammed the door in my face and tried to trip me. This was not what I was expecting on the first day of school, where I'm trying to set a structured class environment. She's a pain in the butt, but it's hard not to love her. Kind of like my wife. So to honor Maddie, I'm going to talk about the qualities that I remember most. Some that make me proud, and others that make me laugh. So I will remember her leadership. As a class officer, she led her senior class to a feat that hasn't occurred in 17 years, a second place finish at homecoming. Something that hasn't been done since my own senior class in 2003. No wonder I like her. I will remember her organization. Have you seen her backpack? It's a bottomless pit of smashed crackers, mini cheese, and Q-tips. Most were new, but too many weren't. It's amazing that she could find anything at all. Yet, she never lost a single assignment. I will remember her athleticism. Well, maybe not for Triton. The most athletic club she joined at Triton was Cribbage Club, where she was cut after a couple of meetings. I will remember her sense of adventure. As her friends have told me, she enjoys hiking, and one time she became one with nature on top of a mountain. I just hope she cleaned up afterwards. I will also remember her creativity. I was lucky enough to receive some of her artwork. I have some here for you. Yeah. Need I say more? A quality only a mother could love. In all seriousness, I'll remember Maddie as the type of student you wish you had a class full of. A perfect blend of work ethic and humor. For every example I have poked fun at, I can count dozens of examples that are more commendable. Going back to leadership, she is an officer of community service as well as a class officer and a leader in the classroom, despite cribbage being her only Triton athletic club. She is an avid skier, recently going out to Montana, which made me mighty jealous. And she still dances competitively. For creativity, she has had some of her artwork submitted in exhibits, and even came up with clever names for them, like Faces of the Moon for a ceramic mask of the moon. I found out the hard way what a fierce competitor she is, when I ended up with pie on my face, literally, when I tried to raise more money than her in the Pie a Teacher in the Face challenge. And by her attendance at this event, she is obviously one of the best and brightest Triton has to offer. But the thing I remember most of all is her infectious smile and her sense of humor. It is something that I will never forget. Almost every time I saw her, it resulted in smiles and laughs. She will be missed by the school community as a whole, and especially by me. Maddie will be remembered as one of my top few favorite students of all time. With all these qualities she possesses, I know she has a bright future. Other than finding a prom date, I don't think there's anything she cannot do. And before I go, here is one last one for the memories. Congratulations.
So my fondest memory at Triton was at the junior prom, when my prom date was, getting pretty tired, and so he asked me if there were any energy drinks that we could get. So I went up to the bartender and I was like, hey, can you get me something stiff? And the guy's like, what? I'm like, yeah, can you get me a Shirley Temple straight up? And he's like, what does that mean? I'm like, dude, I want straight grenadine. And he's like, it's my first day on the job, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, just give me the drink. And so he did, he gave me straight grenadine, and I gave it to my prom date, and he's like, I can't drink this. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I can't, could you? I'm like, yeah. So I straight pounded it. What my Triton education has meant to me is meeting a ton of people that I never thought I would ever come across, people that I will probably know for the rest of my life just because they're so special. And as well, I've been able to do tons of volunteer work through Triton, and I'm really thankful for it. And I've taken a lot of AP courses and I've passed the test, so they must be teaching us something. All right, Mr. Coyle, it's your time to shine. So Mr. Coyle is my AP Government and Politics teacher. He's not only a phenomenal teacher, he's also a great mediator, which, as many of you know, I really like to debate with people, especially Ivy and Andrew, who are both in my class. So thank you, Mr. Coyle, for all that you do, and can't wait to hear your speech.
Thank you, Lena. Good evening to everyone, and congratulations to all the honor graduates and their families, and welcome to the Coyle back deck. I'd like to start by giving a big thanks to Bob Lathrop, Megan Ober, the guidance department, the high school administration, and anybody else who had a hand in putting this event together and maintaining one of Triton's most important traditions, even in the face of the unique circumstances we're under. So, a couple of weeks ago, I get an email from Lena asking if I would speak on her behalf tonight. But I should rephrase that, because her verbatim request had sort of an odd twist. It said, I quote, I was wondering if you would like to be my speaker for the honors banquet. If you would then please roast me in your speech. Please let me know. My reply was swift, and I quote, Hi Lena, congratulations on making the top 10%. Bravo. And it would be very difficult for me to turn down an opportunity to roast you in any venue, virtual or actual, 3D or 2D. This exchange really sort of synopsizes our 3 real quarters of face-to-face interaction in a classroom where I found Lena to be one of the most refreshingly honest, tenacious, and authentic students I've had the pleasure of teaching over the past 26 years. Of course, Lena is a superb student. She wouldn't be here tonight if she was not. But what sets her apart in my estimation is her authenticity and her curiosity, her desire to question and understand everything, and to be a part of and experience as much as you can cram into a day, a life, an academic career. As a result, a survey of her time at Triton reveals that she's taken a wide and eclectic variety of courses. Her volunteer work is just as wide-ranging, everything from the organization of a pie-eating contest at Newbury Elementary School to her efforts on behalf of the Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center, her participation in Golf for Autism, her work with little kids at Bible camp, and her efforts collecting bugs on behalf of the Ipswich River Wildlife Association's attempts to better understand the impact of climate change. She's in the National Honor Society and the Foreign Language National Honor Society. She's in the Cribbage Club, on the swim team, the tennis team, the track team, the volleyball team. She's president of DECA, writes for our Scribe, the literary magazine. Oh, and she sings and acts. And there's much more I'm leaving out, but we'd be here all night if I detailed them all. Lena doesn't just take sips or sample of these opportunities. She gobbles them up. She has an authentic appetite to experience life and learning in their fullest sense, and that is truly impressive and will serve her well in her future endeavors. Now, in class, her enthusiasm for life and learning definitely showed and was complemented by Lena's truly one-of-a-kind personality. So let me take you all to C period H125 on a typical day, if there ever was such a thing. Lena would arrive late, as usual, toting food, as usual, even if it was the period right after lunch, and greet me with a cheery, Hey, Mr. Coyle. She sat center row, first desk, right next to her wing person and occasional interpreter, Ivy Wang. I say this because Lena asks a lot of questions, and sometimes her thinking was better understood by Ivy than by me, and so thanks to Ivy for the assist on that. So I'd start the lesson, praying to avoid the inevitable Lena versus Andrew Valiente dust-up that the rest of the class was rooting for. Bored kids, looking to be entertained by my discomfort. Remember the epic homeschool battle? Oh yeah, C period people. It's going in the book. Even if we avoided that, there was no avoiding her questions. What does that mean? What are you saying? Why do we do that? How does that work? Why do we keep doing that? Who is that? What's the point of that? How can he say that? Where is that? That's not true, is it? Well, what do we do now? And herein lies what I love most about having Lena as a student. The constant questioning means she truly is trying to understand a topic or an issue. She will not just believe me or a text or another student unquestioningly. She will pursue knowledge and understanding in the most tenacious manner until she is satisfied or comes to the conclusion that you or the source or the student do not know what you are talking about. And it is that I respect and admire most about Lena as a student. The combination of respectful criticism, questioning, clarifying, and experiencing. Those are the characteristics of powerful students, thinkers, and citizens. Albert Einstein once said that the formulation of a problem is often more essential than its solution, and that to raise new questions, new possibilities, to regard old problems from a new angle requires creativity and imagination. Lena has this spirit in abundance. And finally, I'll repeat the last of my list of her questions, which is, well, what do we do now? Notice her emphasis. What do we do now? We, not I, we, not they, but we. What do we do now? Yes, Lena, exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, honor graduate, Linda Freeman.
I don't have one memory of Triton that sticks out to me, but I've always enjoyed the time I spent with my teachers and classmates. I'm very fond of every memory I had where I was laughing with them, especially when it came to funny stories of Triton from the past that a teacher would tell us about. To me, Triton education has been very welcoming and caring. I feel that all my teachers and the staff of the school really care for the students and enjoy their jobs. My teachers never made me feel afraid of asking questions, no matter how ridiculous they seem to be. And at times when my judgment was wrong due to my lack of understanding, they were very patient with me. My speaker is my English teacher I had this year, Miss Dempsey. I learned the writing technique show, not tell from her, which helped a lot with writing my college essay. I chose her for my speaker because I believe that she knows me quite well, despite only knowing me this year. Also, I believe that we have the same philosophy on life and that she's the perfect person to go to for life.
Hello everyone. I'm beyond excited to speak on behalf of Ivy Huang, honors graduate of the class of 2020. First though, I would like to personally congratulate the honors graduates. This class will be remembered forever for its amazing contributions and for their resilience when faced with the unimaginable. I had the pleasure of teaching many of you this year, and my one wish is that we had more time together. I hope I get to share my thoughts with each of you personally in the near future, but for now, know that I am so very proud of you all. To the parents of the honors graduates, please don't let these trying times diminish your accomplishment, raising these amazing kids. And now to talk about the star of my show, Ivy. I met Ivy on the first day of school this year when she came in the door of H206 like a whirlwind, and I'm pretty sure she left there in the same fashion on March 13th, our last day in the building. I knew from the start that this quirky chick was someone that would keep me on my toes. Although a spectacular student, Ivy and I didn't necessarily bond over who was the more reliable narrator, Victor Frankenstein or the monster. And for all my students watching right now, you gotta know that it wasn't my plan to leave you with Frankenstein as the big finale for our year. Speaking of books, I know you read them all, Ivy. As chance would have it, Ivy chose a seat relatively close to my desk, so I was privy to her daily interactions with her friends who shared that space. At least once each class, I'd witness Jamie, Sarah, and Colby all listening intently and then just stare in awe with a resounding, "Ivy!" I came to quickly realize that Ivy was just Ivy. I learned a lot about Ivy and her family background from a project she did on a book club book for class. She shared tidbits about her hardworking parents, their family restaurant, and the other things she values and believes. She started visiting me during lunches, mostly to finish something that might be due the next period, but we chatted in those frantic moments, her typing feverishly and me rambling on. I told her about my adventures in the corporate world in Boston before becoming a teacher, and we talked about plans for her college major and how to find a job she might love for the rest of her life. The time always flew because something about Ivy just sucks you in and keeps you laughing. One topic we both agreed was worth a lot of discussion was fashion and luxury items. I think I almost knocked her into next week one time when I told her about a handbag that I wanted. She looked it up and said, "Whoa, I could buy a car for that." In addition to livening up the classroom, Ivy played on the tennis team, excelled in foreign languages, and shared friends across all groups in her graduating class. To know Ivy is to love her. At the end of the summer, Ivy will be headed to Bentley University, where I'm sure she will take the campus by storm. Hopefully, she'll whip through my classroom door again, this time to visit and tell me her stories about her adventures outside of Triton. And now, Ivy, in honor of our love of luxury items, I have created a tribute to you. Made out of something that has surely become a luxury item. I is for inquisitive, V for vivacious, and Y for yay, you did it! Congratulations, Ivy, and the Triton High School class of 2020.
Hey everyone, I'm Nick Ritchie. It's a privilege to be here tonight. I've had many great memories at Triton, but my favorite memory during my time here has been playing sports. I've enjoyed being on the golf and track team, and it was always fun to hang out with my friends and be able to compete in something I love at the same time. Education at Triton is very meaningful to me. I've had the opportunity to be taught by so many great teachers, and they have all prepared me well for my next step at the University of New Hampshire. My speaker tonight is Mr. Doobie. I asked Mr. Doobie to speak for me because I've gotten to know him well through 4 years of golfing and through his class. Mr. Doobie is always a fun guy to be around on the golf course, and although I haven't actually learned anything about golf from him, he has taught me a lot about economics. Thanks for everything, Mr. Doobie. It's an honor to have you speak for me tonight.
My name is Rich Doobie, and I have the pleasure to speak on behalf of Honors Graduate Nick Ritchie. I'd like to congratulate all of this year's Honors graduates, and especially the Ritchie family, who represent 1/6 of the Honors graduates this year. For those of you with siblings, birth order is very important. With the Ritchies, Liv is the oldest, Keegan is in the middle, and Nick is the baby of the family. Whether it is looking up to older siblings or sibling rivalry, birth order always matters. I met Nick at the start of his freshman year as a member of the golf team. My first impression of Nick is that he always smiles. This is the Ritchie parking spot in the back lot. I used to drive by them as I park in the back lot as well. And of course, Nick was smiling. Nick so looked up to his big sister Liv that when he got his license, he reported himself as a female. It's true, it's true, it's very true. And here's the proof. Don't worry, a new license has been issued with the appropriate gender. Nick was a 4-year member of our golf team and spent a lot of time up here at Old Newbury. He was a varsity player for 3 years and was a valued member of 2 Cape Ann League championship teams and was instrumental in the team going undefeated this past fall. Because he was always smiling, I never really knew how well Nick had played until I looked at his scorecard. Whether he played well, like at the Cal Open, or not so well, like in the state tournament, I could never tell by his body language. Nick ended his high school golf career on a very positive note, finishing 6th in the Cape Ann League and being named a Cape Ann League First Team All-Star. He was a great member of the team and will be missed here at Old Newbury. Smiling Nick was a member of my AP Microeconomics class during his junior year. He did well academically, earning a couple of championship belts, which he claims is more than his big sister. Whenever I looked out to see Nick, I would always see the back of his head as he was chatting with his buddy Drew Boulay. I was amazed that Nick was able to earn a score of 4 on the AP exam, considering the time I saw the back of his head. Hey Nick, what did Liv get on the AP test? Nick was a middle distance runner for the winter and spring track teams. He helped the team win a state championship in the spring of 2019. After watching Nick try to play basketball before a winter track practice, I was convinced he definitely made the right choice to run track. One day after track practice, one of our freshman golfers, Evan Mace, saw Nick talking to a young lady. Evan gave Nick the thumbs up sign, thinking that Nick was dating this young lady. You got it, the young lady was Liv. Nick, just so you know, dating your sister is never okay. Nick is a bright and kind young man with an infectious smile. I know that he will be successful in whatever he chooses to do. In life, it's always good to have choices. Nick was accepted to the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, the University of New Hampshire, the University of Vermont, and the University of Connecticut. Nick has decided to take his smile to Durham and become a wildcat at the University of New Hampshire, where he will study engineering. Congratulations and good luck, Nick.
Hi, I'm Sarah Bird, and I asked Mr. Doobie to speak for me tonight. I've had him twice as a teacher throughout my 4 years at Triton, freshman and senior year. I chose him because I loved going to his class every day, and he has seen me grow into someone who is truly passionate about engineering. I still have a display of every project I brought home on my bookshelf in my room, and my siblings probably got annoyed with me whenever I'd start babbling about how cool and fun everything we do in class was. In every drawing, every tech report, and every project, he helped me push myself and embrace my creativity, something that I'm thankful for. Even when I wasn't in his class, I'd look forward to the future. After completing Tech 1, I knew that I wanted to start and end high school with his class, and I'm very glad that I did. Over my high school experience at Triton, I've gained a better sense of understanding, even beyond the classroom, and I owe that to Mr. Doobie, friends, and other teachers. So thank you. You have become a part of my story, and I can't wait to see what's in store next.
Hello everyone, my name is Scott Doobie, and you're watching Channel 1 The Uno. During the pandemic, we have a tendency to think of our own needs, but today we at Channel 1 want to recognize one of those students who have worked hard to achieve academic excellence. Her name is Sarah Bird. Not that one, yes. But before we get started, let's check on the weather with Sunny Doobie. Hello everybody, it's a nice sunny day out here, Sarah kind of day, full of promise. And now for our extended forecast. It looks like it's going to be bright and sunny for the rest of her life. Back to you, Scott. Well, thank you, Sunny, that was encouraging. Now we're going to move on to the student spotlight with Sarah's technology teacher, Mr. Doobie. Sarah Bird, one of my favorite all-time students. Even though I only had her in 2 classes, my first experience was in her freshman year. She took Technology Engineering 1. I could tell right away she was special. Her attention to detail, her drive to go that extra step when everyone else were just content with completing the project. Whenever she entered the room, I would be greeted with her infectious smile, and I would say to myself, it's going to be a good day. I made sure she was the face of technology at the 8th grade electives fair. I think I sent her to the electives fair in her sophomore year also, even though she wasn't in my class. I didn't have Sarah in class till her senior year. Oh, this is so hard. I'm okay. It was a great senior year. She took some extremely difficult projects and completed them all. The last project was called a hacky sack drop vehicle. They had to design and build a vehicle that would carry a hacky sack down an 8-foot track, drop the hacky sack in a hole, and return without touching it. Of course, she completed it ahead of schedule. But then I challenged her to improve upon her vehicle. I told her I wanted the hacky sack to be catapulted into the hole, and that I wanted her to decorate her vehicle, which she did, and it was a total success, and it looked great. And let's go take a look at it right now, going down the track. So this is Sarah's hacky sack drop vehicle modified. Great job, Sarah. You're the only one that's ever competed with the Dubinator. I'm gonna miss you, Sarah. You made teaching fun and very rewarding. Good luck in your future. Well, what a special student. She must have been great to have in class. Now, let's move on to sports with Scooter.
Sports with Scooter.
I'm here today at Triton Regional High School in the stadium to spotlight a student athlete, Sarah Bird. Sarah played 4 sports. She played field hockey, she played lacrosse, basketball, and winter track. Her field hockey coach described her as a great teammate and said she would come to games and to practice with a game face on, which happened to be a smile. So here you go, Sarah. Thumbs up to you. Sarah Bird with a GPA of 4.58 and 7th in the graduating class of 2020 Triton Regional High School. The UNO would like to wish you health and happiness as you pursue a career and education in the field of engineering. We would also like to send out a big thank you to your parents for doing such a great job. Sarah Bird, honor student, we salute you. Signing off.
Hello everyone, I'm Jordan Frasca. I just wanted to start by congratulating my fellow classmates on all of their achievements over the last 4 years, and especially to those who are also being celebrated tonight. I also wanted to thank everyone who has helped me throughout my high school career, and to those who have put in the extra effort to make this ceremony possible. I know these are difficult times, and I'm extremely grateful to be able to celebrate my classmates and myself in any way possible. Throughout my years at Triton, I always loved going to sporting games, but I enjoyed the car rides there almost as much. My friends and I would play music and sing along, amping ourselves up for whatever game we were heading to. My education has meant a great deal to me, as Triton is where I finally realized what I wanted to do with my future education. I chose to ask Mr. Farron to speak for me at this banquet, not only because I've had him for the past 2 years so he knows me pretty well, but because I value his opinion. In his biotechnology class, we took a field trip to Brammer Bio, a manufacturing company that focuses on gene therapy, and I realized that I wanted to work with the human genome, and I pictured myself working in a lab like theirs. He has supported me through the college application process by writing a letter of recommendation, and he has paved a path for me to realize the possibilities for my future. I'm honored to have him speak for me tonight. Please welcome Mr. Farron. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ivan Farron.
a science teacher at Triton, and I'm here in Maine sipping a champagne in celebration of our honors students and especially Jordan Frasca, a student I am happy to be honoring tonight. I have been very fortunate to have a double dose of Jordan last year in biotech and again this year in marine bio. And as I understand it, we are lucky to be recognizing Jordan at all tonight. According to her friends, she has fallen down every set of stairs at Triton, some multiple times, in the same day. I'm sure many of you are wondering, why champagne? You're a beer guy in Maine. I chose champagne for my celebratory sip because, like Jordan, it's effervescent and refreshing. Jordan is also one of a kind. She's a member of NHS, Environmental Club, Cribbage Club for 2 years, Community Service for 3 years. She was vice president of that this past year and managed softball, varsity softball for 3 years. She pushes herself. She can be silly and enthusiastic at one point, analytical and probing the next. In class, Jordan was one of the most likely students to volunteer a timely question or extend a line of reasoning. She is delightfully engaging. Ms. Norton agreed that in class, that fateful moment that all teachers know and fear when the crickets are about to go into chorus, Jordan could be counted on to jump in and save the day, or at least make the teacher feel a little less lonely. That's a rare student, and rarer still, she sings the songs even when she doesn't know the words.
I've been looking at the skies tonight, and I think, oh, how na.
Jordan is at her best when the work is hands-on and interactive. She showed great attention to detail in all labs, especially in biotech, and enthusiastically executed those assignments with almost gleeful anticipation of results. When done, she was very likely to suggest a viable extension of the lab. Now, we did this DNA fingerprinting lab. It's called polymerase chain reaction, and it took like 3 days to get this lab done. We didn't get results. Students were pretty satisfied that they'd gone through this process. Jordan wanted to go back and do another 3 days to see if we could get results from that lab. And she takes criticism well and entertains all suggestions for improvement. But as an independent thinker, let's just say we were not always in agreement. And Jordan would let me know it, but I appreciated the fact that she would take the appraisals seriously enough that she would occasionally question those with which she didn't immediately or fully agree, a sign of an engaged student, a student who values the feedback enough to seek clarification. Jordan respects the efforts of her teachers and always has. Ms. Freeman from PGS sent her congratulations. She recalls, Jordan enjoyed music and singing, putting her whole delightful self into everything she did. Ms. Loring shared, she would always say hi to me in the hallways at PGS right up through 6th grade. That is a rarity in students. In short, Jordan is very genuine, down-to-earth, optimistic. She is one of the most kind-hearted young people I've gotten to know, and Jordan is oh so resilient, industrious, and tenacious. She doesn't give up, always looks to improve. These qualities will allow her to shine at UMass Lowell, where Jordan will pursue biomedical engineering. I believe Jordan has a bright future before her and wholeheartedly support her in these next exciting steps in her academic future. And with that, let's put our hands together for honors graduate Jordan Frasca. Spirits in my head and they won't go. I got guns in my head and they won't go.
Triton is without a doubt a unique school, and I take my Triton education to heart.
Behind the rundown bricks of this building is a truly great place to learn and grow. A place to take risks and try new things. I like to think I took advantage of everything Triton had to offer. I took honors and AP classes. I studied hard and asked for help when I needed it, but I also found myself taking risks outside of the classroom. Once that bell rang at 2:13, I stayed after nearly every day. I involved myself heavily in extracurriculars, from tennis to robotics to community service, and especially the arts. I performed in the spring musicals and sang in jazz choir, women's choir, and singers. I may have learned some new skills here, like how to play tennis or how to build a robot, but I also learned how to find balance, how to manage my time, how to advocate for myself, how to challenge myself and accept failure as part of success. The importance of giving back, to have confidence in myself and my abilities, but most importantly, to enjoy the little things. My best memories of high school aren't the hours I spent studying for a test or the hours stressing over a paper, but all the little details that make Triton unique. The aroma of mystery meat while walking past the cafeteria, the rush and clamor of students when the bell rings at 2:13 Triton time, the weight of my backpack as I dash to class, begging to watch VTV as the new episode is announced over the intercom. Being involved within the community gave me a sense of purpose and belonging. My Triton education was unique, no doubt, but in the end, I know it has shaped me into the person I am today and prepared me for the next chapter of my life. Beyond the challenging classes, a vast array of extracurriculars, and everything in between, the Triton staff is there to support you every step of the way. Educators are supportive and genuinely want you to succeed, which is why I would like to introduce Mrs. Galante as my guest speaker. She does everything in her power to help students understand concepts, whether it be a class discussion or a one-on-one extra help session. Heated conversations over statistical terms are the best. However, she is most well known for her singing, which is super effective when it comes to memorizing anything. She makes class memorable and fun, like when we would get slightly off topic during class discussions and spiral until we found ourselves talking about having eggs on pizza. She's also a cheery and bubbly person, and you can count on her to brighten your day. Whether it's a simple good morning while walking in the hallways, or Googling positive music and proceeding to play Uptown Girl until the end of class. She's always a beacon of light, much needed in times like these. Without further ado, here is Mrs. Galante.
Well, this is surely a wonderful, memorable, unique, historical event that I'm sure will be retold to family and friends years from now. Every student here should be so proud of what they accomplished and why they are here, and so should their families. Congratulations to all who are here celebrating this evening. I am honored to be speaking for Adriana Deeb this evening. As Ms. Kovac said to me, she is the whole package. Of course, Adriana is academically talented, otherwise she wouldn't be here this evening. But Adriana's talents go beyond academia. You know when you have this beautiful puzzle and you're putting all the pieces together and you get to the end and there's that one piece that's just missing? That's not the case for Adriana. That beautiful puzzle comes together to create one unique, special young lady. I had the pleasure of having Adriana in my AP Statistics class her junior year. And I'm even more fortunate to have that relationship with her as a person continue throughout her high school career and into her senior year. This year, her mom was in the school working one-on-one with another student in another one of my classes. I asked Adriana how she felt about having her mom in the school. She said, "I love it." What a wonderfully adjusted young lady Adriana is. There were even a few times that Adriana, her mom, and I had lunch together. It was wonderful. And when I observe Adriana hanging out with her friends, I see what a true friend she is to those who are fortunate enough to have her as a friend. She is fun to be around. She's caring, and she's always there to lend a helping hand, a shoulder to cry on, or help with schoolwork. She is a wonderful person. Miss Reardon states it best when she says, she is unfailingly upbeat and enthusiastic, and her positive energy is infectious. She is completely responsible and always respectful to peers and adults. Another piece of the puzzle is Adriana's involvement in the theater. Honestly, I don't have enough time to list all the onstage and backstage theater engagements she has participated in. She also volunteered at Pine Grove Elementary in numerous ways to help their musicals and their performances be successful. Her voice is amazing. When I watched her in Godspell this year, I was in awe of her performance. I knew she could sing and I knew she could act, but I didn't know she could dance. Great job. Again, I will draw on the words of Miss Reardon, who stated to me, and pardon me if I'm not looking into the video, Adriana is a generous and gracious performer who understands when to be the focus and when to draw the audience focus to other actors. That is a rare ability in a high school actor. She never misses a rehearsal and is a dream to direct. She's a great talent without the acting attitude that can come with it. I couldn't agree more. Another piece to the puzzle, which many of us may not know, is Adriana's talent in foreign language. I am not that great in Spanish. I know un poquito. So I'm going to ask Google to say something for me. And let's see how this goes on the video.
Felicitaciones, Adriana. Recibirás un reconocimiento en tu diploma para reflejar que eres bilingüe.
Which, for those of you who do not speak Spanish well, translates to, congratulations, Adriana. You will also receive recognition on your diploma to reflect that you are bilingual. Quite another piece of the puzzle. One of the final pieces to the puzzle, although I'm sure there must be extra pieces here, are all the extracurricular activities that Adriana was involved in both inside and outside of Triton. Truly amazing how she was able to maintain her GPA and participate in all these various clubs and activities throughout her high school career. It is an extensive list, and I don't want to leave anything out, although I probably did. I'd like to read it, so I apologize if I'm not looking right at the screen. Adriana, throughout her years, has been involved with women's choir, varsity tennis, robotics, community service, where she completed over 150 hours, NHS, FLNHS, art club, yearbook club. She always helped with homecoming. She was involved one year in Scribe Literacy magazine. She took voice lessons. She completed dual enrollment at Salem State. And one summer she spent time at Montserrat College of Art pre-college program. Again, just another piece of the beautiful puzzle. We complete the puzzle of Adriana by melding together all of her talents, her intelligence, her love for the stage, her passion for the arts and graphics and music, her athleticism, her ability to problem solve and persevere, her quiet leadership, her positive energy. All of these pieces of the puzzle come together to create a confident, beautiful young lady named Adriana Deeb. In the fall, Adriana will begin putting together a new beautiful puzzle picture. She plans on studying at Drexel University, where she will combine her talents to study animation and visual effects with a minor in computer science or software engineering. Her ultimate dream job is to work for Disney Animation Studios, And boy, will they be getting the whole picture if they are lucky enough to hire her. Adriana, you will be so missed here at Triton. I wish you all the best, and it has been such a pleasure to get to know you over these past few years.
My favorite memories at Triton are the ones of us just being dumb kids. Like my friends chasing each other down the hallway after someone who steals their phone, or leaving food in their locker so long it becomes a biohazard, making terrible rap videos for school projects, mixing disgusting concoctions at lunch, and everyone's still thinking that poop jokes are funny. These seemingly unimportant moments made me laugh, and they make me the most happy to look back on. I am confident that my education at Triton has provided me with a solid academic background to build upon at college. But more importantly, my teachers were passionate about their subjects, and that encouraged me to be curious beyond the mandated content. I'm also grateful for all the Triton staff who went beyond their job description and offered us just general life wisdom and emotional support. The person I asked to speak for me today is Mr. Horsley. It is difficult to describe in just a few words what an impact he has had on my life. First of all, his relentless optimism and belief in the power of personal choice in the face of enormous global issues empowered me to make decisions and change my lifestyle to be more in line with my beliefs. He's also the first person that showed me that not only was it possible for me to have a career related to my passion for the environment, but that it could be an adventure too. His offer to connect me with out-of-class experiences led me to assisting in real scientific research, joining a youth environmental advocacy group, and getting leadership experience through the Triton Environmental Club. If I hadn't had these experiences, I wouldn't have met so many wonderful people of all ages who share my passions. I wouldn't know who I am as much, and I wouldn't have such a clear direction for my future. I cannot thank him enough for the energy he puts into his students.
Oh, hey! I'm Tom Horsley. I teach environmental science at Triton Regional High School, and I'm honored that Sophia Dixon has chosen me to speak on her behalf at our honors banquet, honoring her achievement graduating within the top 10% of the Triton class of 2020. Is that an ibis? Alright, I'll put the binoculars down. Alright. As any one of her teachers will tell you, Sophia is fiercely intelligent. This intelligence, paired with her incredible dedication and her intrinsic desire to learn, makes Sophia a student of the highest caliber. I've been lucky enough to have Sophia in class for both honors and AP environmental science. In class, Sophia never failed to thoroughly surpass my expectations, oftentimes pursuing content to a much greater depth, which wound up driving our entire class deeper into course content. Beyond impressing me with her top-quality work, Sophia made me laugh. She never hesitated to throw in a quick quip or a sassy comment to spice up class discussion. She was never afraid to make her opinion known. When I asked her other teachers for some juicy Sophia stories, Mr. Doobie shared the following. In AP Microeconomics, we were talking about the role of government in protecting property rights. So I posed the question, what would you do if I walked into your house? Sophia looked at him and said, I would shoot you. This had happened early on in the year, so Mr. Doobie was stunned. For the rest of the year, he addressed Sophia as the girl who would shoot me. Over the course of these last 2 years, one thing about Sophia became clear. She is truly passionate about environmental science. When I asked her what were some of the most important things you learned during your time at Triton, Sophia said, I figured out a lot of what I believe, especially environmental conservation. To me, it's very much intertwined with my sense of spirituality. I'm a hippie, I know. I think that viewing ourselves as an equal part of nature is the best mindset to live harmoniously and be kind to ourselves, each other, and the planet. And I totally agree. Towards the end of her junior year, Sophia asked me if I could help her find an internship position over the summer. I was so struck by her genuine dedication. I gave her the names and email addresses of some folks that I had worked with over the years, and within a few weeks, Sophia had secured an internship position working for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I myself held this position when I was 20 years old, so Sophia, you've got me beat by 3 years, as you've nailed this position when you were 17. Her work with the Fish and Wildlife Service and several other organizations has continued ever since. Sophia had some incredible opportunities and experiences through her volunteer work. Earlier this year, Sophia told me that she was offered a chance to work alongside Fish and Wildlife Service at the Great Bay Wildlife Refuge in New Hampshire to dissect hunted deer to analyze their meat, assessing levels of potentially harmful chemicals. Her excitement told me that she is right on track to becoming an exceptional biologist. In an email to one of her Fish and Wildlife compatriots, Sophia said, "I want to thank you for hooking me up with the deer experience. It was very interesting, and I definitely learned a lot about hunting. I never imagined that my first animal dissection would be in the back of a pickup truck." To me, this story exemplifies Sophia's unending intellectual curiosity and her outgoing, witty personality. Through her passion, authenticity, and dedication over the course of her environmental work, she's placed herself within a network of local professionals that will always be there to support her as she continues to pursue a career in science. Entering into her senior year, I started an environmental club at Triton, and Sophia was an obvious choice to serve as a student leader for this club. When I asked Sophia what were some of the most meaningful experiences that she had at Triton, she said, "Honestly, the environmental club and connecting with people like you, Faye, and Eve, and other kids who share my environmental passion, this was really important to me and helped me to realize what I could be and to feel connected and purposeful." Sophia worked tirelessly to share her passion with her fellow club members, constantly putting forth new initiatives and supporting our environmental goals. I'll share just one of those examples. Sophia learned of a local organization called Black Earth Compost, whose mission is to collect food waste and return it to the community as rich compost. She contacted them asking if their collection services were available in her hometown of Raleigh. They told her that they couldn't offer pickup services because they didn't have enough people signed up. Sophia replied, "Well, how many more people do you need?" They replied, 20. Sophia then made her own flyer, swiped my ID card, used the school's copier to mass-produce compost propaganda, and distributed that to the Triton staff, targeting those people from Raleigh. As always, Sophia was tenacious and passionate for a cause that she believed in. The one attribute of Sophia that stands out for me personally is her kind and caring heart. Sophia never got tired or tied into the who's cool and who's not. Sophia welcomed and cared for students of all class years and all backgrounds. Sophia would go out of her way to make sure that every student in our classes, environmental club, and the school in general felt a part. Her peers knew that Sophia was genuinely their friend and someone they could lean on. She always promoted inclusivity and an air of unconditional kindness. This is Sophia. Sophia, I am so proud of you for your academic achievements, your environmental work, your leadership in an environmental club, but most of all, I'm proud of you for being so kind and thoughtful to everyone around you. I can't wait to hear about your future adventures as you head off to the University of Arizona next year, and I am so happy that you've decided to major in ecology and evolutionary biology. I know that your future achievements will be even more impressive, but as I've noted, I believe your biggest achievement will be the incredibly positive impact you will continue to have on the people around you. As I've told you, I loved our conversations during our shared free periods and before and after class, and I look forward to our continued friendship as you continue to pursue your passions into your very bright future. Thanks again, Sophia, for asking me to speak for you.
Well, hello there. My name is Jonah Bird. I've chosen my sprinting coach, Graham Eaton, as my speaker because he watched me grow over these past 4 years as a person and as a sprinter. I participated in both winter and spring track all 4 years, besides spring this year because of the situation. Graham has taught me what it means to work hard and how it pays off. I would say there was a correlation between my athletic and academic life. Once I decided to try in high school, my speed also increased. I was also ranked in the 40s at the beginning of junior year, and look at me now, 15. Screw you, Ivy and Sam. And I told myself that I'm not going to the honors banquet to honor Sarah, my sister, unless I'm also being honored myself. Funnily enough, Graham was also one of my 5th grade teachers when I was in elementary school. And little did I know, he'd be my coach, for the entirety of high school. My teachers and coaches at Triton pushed me to be the best I can be, and I'll always remember that.
One of the best things about being a 5th grade teacher and a high school track coach is I get to see a lot of my students make progress as they go up to the high school. Jonah was not someone who I had in my 5th grade homeroom, but I do remember having a lot of positive interactions with him during his time at Salisbury Elementary School. One of my favorite memories with him there was how kind and supportive of a teammate he was during the flag football intramural program. And I remember thinking to myself, if everyone had his level of kindness and respect, that the program would have been better off for it. I could not, however, predict the level of success he would attain academically and athletically when he went up into high school. One of my favorite moments with him as his track coach was when a teammate went down about 10 minutes before the 4x100 meter relay at the Cape Ann League Championships. I walked up to Jonah and I told him I needed him, and sure enough, he was ready to go within 5 minutes with no complaint. He seized the opportunity and helped the team secure a Cape Ann League victory. The following weekend at the state meet, he was also thrust into the anchor leg position, and he actually anchored the team to a 3rd place finish, which all but effectively sealed the state title for us. Watching him grow from a kid that perhaps wasn't naturally gifted and see him mentally stay in the fight all the way to the end tells me everything I need to know about Jonah. That he's not afraid of a challenge, and he has a growth mindset that will serve him well in the near future. He truly loves the process and gets results as well. I know, as a Salisbury Elementary School teacher, hearing that one of our own has done so well and accomplished so much brings a lot of joy to our hearts. Jonah, congratulations on all you have accomplished. Best of luck in the future.
My fondest memory at Triton is walking through the doors on the first day of freshman year, knowing that this would be the beginning of the rest of my life. My Triton education has taught me to work hard and stay determined for the things that you want. I asked Ms. Kovash to speak for me because over the past 2 years, she has not only been a teacher, but an inspiration. She has always encouraged us to work hard and be our best. She always gives us advice about college, scholarships, and life. I have always appreciated her advice, and I am so happy she agreed to speak for me.
I am honored to speak for Sam tonight. We met last year in my Spanish 3 honors class, as well as an advisory. When Brad Smith retired, his advisory was split up, and Sam came to mine. At first I didn't see her much, as she was one of the upperclassmen involved with freshman orientation and mentoring. That was the first clue about her being a leader in our school. Beginning sophomore year, Sam went to the freshman advisories to help the students acclimate to the school, showing them the ropes of Triton. This is an activity she really enjoyed, helping build community in the school. Sam's best experiences at Triton have been those that help build a feeling of community, whether it is in sports, community service club, or student council activities. One of those significant student council activities that was very meaningful to Sam was the Triton Day of Giving. Sam was very enthusiastic about being able to improve the school's appearance. Another way that Sam felt a strong sense of community came from being active in school sports, track, cross country, skiing, and soccer. A simple act of attending sporting events such as football also heightened her sentiment of enthusiasm for the Triton spirit. In class her junior year, Sam was always a conscientious, no-nonsense student, accomplishing her work quickly and efficiently. I observed she was serious, but not too serious, hearing occasional bursts of laughter that would emit from her group where she sat with Tyler, Keegan, and Kylie Lorenzo. Miss Cornell reflected that Sam had these qualities as a freshman, which is indicative of the high-achieving student that Sam has been throughout her time at Triton. We moved into this year with Sam in AP Spanish. Like many of the accomplished students in the top 10%, Sam took it upon herself to study 5 AP classes, a heavy load. Sam has always been prepared for class, coming with a positive attitude, always trying to improve. One of the most difficult parts of the class is always trying to speak Spanish, and Sam did not shy away from it. Even while working long hours during the pandemic, Sam has managed to come to Zoom classes as well as complete her assignments. She hopes to continue her study of Spanish in college, where it might also be useful in her future plans. Sam will be studying environmental engineering at the University of Utah. Sam has been interested in the environment since she was a child. Her father instilled in her the importance of recycling and careful boating through the marsh on the Parker River. Sam works many hours at Riverfront Marina and enjoys working outside and helping to maintain our environment. Sam's dad works in the ski industry, and at the age of 2 she learned to ski. She didn't exactly love it at first, but eventually it became one of her passions as she improved her skills and enjoyed the fresh air. Why Utah, you might ask? That's so far away. That's exactly why. Sam is ready to see a different part of the country, make new friends, and explore the great outdoors of the West. And of course, ski. She is ready to leave her comfort zone and experience new things and be part of a new spirit of community. Naturally, she will miss her family and especially her sister Lizzie. She's looking forward to having them visit her in her new surroundings. As I mentioned, as a top student, Sam has been very active in school activities. Even with her tough academic load, Sam has been able to maintain a balance with her participation in sports, as well as the National Honor Society and the World Language National Honor Society. I want to commend and congratulate Sam's parents for raising a young woman who is a natural leader and an aware environmentalist. I wish Sam well in her journey at West. I am sure she will help the world to become a better place. I know she will be successful and a leader in Utah, just as she has been at Triton. Congratulations to honors graduate Samantha Gail Ann Protopappas.
Hi, I'm Eric. My fondest experience at Triton was my first robotics competition. I had to get up at 5 in the morning to get on bus to WPI, and my team's robot was put together with basically no experience, so I was feeling a bit conflicted about it at the time. That changed when we started competing, because every match was exciting, and we did really well for our first time at the competition. Overall, I really enjoyed putting my problem-solving skills to the test and working together with my friends. When it comes to my Triton education, I feel like the learning environment as a whole really helped me to grow as a student. Just about every teacher I had was very dedicated to teaching. They would always help you if you were stuck on something, and they felt very understanding as a whole to their students. Plus, Triton students themselves are pretty great, honestly. I feel like we all get along well, and if you're having trouble with something, you can always ask someone for help. I chose Mr. B as my speaker because I've had him for 3 years, and his classes were something I always looked forward to. We got to do a lot of lab experiments, which I enjoyed, and he balances the labs with learning the content itself and preparing us for exams. His classes were very collaborative, and he was always making sure that we knew what we were doing. Even if it was just a piece of calculus that we hadn't learned yet, McBee would go to the board and do a good job of teaching it to us. Overall, McBee really strengthened my interest in science and in STEM as a whole.
February 2020, the brave men and women of the College Board AP squad log into their computers and recoil in horror. It seems that Eric has finally made an error in a physics problem. Chaos reigns in the streets. Strange radioactive monsters terrorize the eastern seaboard.
Okay, I may have been exaggerating a little there, but the point remains. Over 3 years of classes, Eric has been scrupulously correct and exceedingly thorough in everything that he does. I haven't been keeping score, but there's been plenty of occasions for me to see his work, swear internally, and then go change my answer key. It does, however, feel a little strange recording a whole speech about Eric, because he doesn't actively seek recognition, and I'm not sure that he won't be at least a little bit embarrassed by public praise. But too bad, because that's what we're here for tonight. Eric may be quiet, but he's not withdrawn. Rather, he's the sort of person you want in every group, able to listen closely and consider input, happy to assist others, and willing to do the hard work when needed. If I asked for at least 3 data points, Eric would get 6. I'm just going to throw an image up here for a few seconds. This is last year's experiment on harmonic motion in springs. I gave the class a bunch of supplies, a problem to solve, and almost no directions on how to do it. Eric, along with Jonah, got quality measurements, found an answer, and then gave me a physical interpretation of the fact that his data had a y-intercept, which is something well beyond what I asked. Back when I was in grad school and teaching pre-meds, one of my fellow TAs always said that his greatest fear was looking up before surgery and seeing a former student with a scalpel just as the anesthesia kicks in. Now, Eric's heading off to Endicott College to major in computer science, but if I'm ever in a hospital hooked up to the machine that goes bing, I would have absolute confidence knowing that Eric wrote the software for it. So to Eric, thanks for 3 great years in class and for being part of my inaugural foray into AP Physics. Good luck at Endicott, and always remember to sanitize your database inputs.
My fondest memory of Triton is beating Masco twice in the state tournament for hockey, especially the overtime win this past year. In both instances, after the game, there was plenty of celebrating in the locker room, which the celebrating mostly consists of yelling and screaming, and then a little bit of quiet when Coach Sheehan, Bass, and Hawks, along with Mr. Brennan, said a couple words, which were, of course, followed by a lot more screaming, yelling, cheering, which, after a minute or two turned into playing music, including Country Roads. Miss Norton is speaking on my behalf. I have asked her to speak for me for a number of reasons. I've had Miss Norton for 3 years now for math classes, programming, and for the robotics team. Doing the robotics team, I spent many afternoons in her classroom that resulted in having conversations with her and others. That makes me feel that she knows me pretty well.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I have the pleasure of speaking to you on behalf of honors graduate and salutatorian Mr. Tyler John Godfrey. Tyler has been a student in my classes and a member of the robotics team for the last 3 years. He is a member of the National Honor Society, the Community Service Club, the Foreign Language National Honor Society, the Cribbage Club, and has served as a class officer both his junior and senior year. I will refrain from simply laundry listing this incredible young man's achievements, as I have not yet begun to highlight his outstanding athleticism on the Triton High School baseball and hockey teams, being a varsity player for 4 years and captain the last 2. Tonight I will share a snapshot of the Tyler who is adored and respected by his peers, and the Tyler that every teacher would be lucky to have in their class. Tyler embodies unprecedented strength of character and an innate intelligence. He is a young person who stands as a role model for all and a true friend to his peers, possessing an infectious and very genuine personality. It is often said that the true measure of a person's character is determined by the friends that we keep. We know that to be true when we look at Tyler's best friends, Keegan Ritchie, Nick Ritchie, and Brad Killian. Tyler, Keegan, Nick, and Brad share a special bond as friends. One of their fondest memories from childhood and elementary school was when they banded together as an earthquake hit Massachusetts during their treasured experience at 5th grade camp. This year, we have each had to navigate our ways surviving the COVID-19 pandemic as it circled across our planet. It affected the lives of everyone, but as a high school teacher, I believe its impact may have affected our high school seniors the most. We each remember spring of our senior year. We became empowered. We were invincible as we walked the halls of our school with reckless abandon. That springtime represented freedom from childhood with an unparalleled zest for the next phase of our lives. It was a rite of passage. This year, however, our seniors had to face spring of their senior year from a new space, learning from their homes. Remote learning took on a life of its own, and each student embraced it in their own unique way. Tyler, with his usual mature dedication to school, embraced remote learning with his continued passion and drive to succeed. As the AP work continued to be assigned, Tyler was always the first to be done and welcomed more work with unprecedented gusto. Mrs. Kobach texted me nightly, echoing the same sentiment of Tyler's work in her AP Spanish class. Tyler is one of 2 students graduating from Triton High School that have ever been accepted to Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT as we know it best. He plans to follow in the footsteps of both of his parents majoring in engineering. Tyler will be playing baseball at MIT, and the Triton community will be asking him not only for his baseball travel schedule so that we can road trip it to watch him play, but we will also be asking him for his autograph while it is still free of charge. Tyler was a defenseman on the Triton High School hockey team. His coach Ryan Sheehan called him a fiery competitor and said he is respected by and respectful to all of his opponents. His coach said that Tyler is the huge reason for Triton's success in hockey these last 4 years. Coach Sheehan said Tyler leads with class and by example in both practice and in games. When I asked Tyler what his favorite high school memory was, he quickly responded, beating Masco twice in the state tournament. 3 weeks ago, I hired a former Triton graduate to remove a few dead oak trees from my yard. While I was out chatting with the crew, one of them asked me if I knew a young man named Tyler Godfrey. I immediately perked up and shared that I was fortunate to have been Tyler's teacher and asked this man how he knew Tyler. He excitedly shared that he coaches hockey for another North Shore high school and that everyone that knows Tyler knows he is a hockey legend. Tyler loves spending time with his family. He adores his parents and his younger brother, Zach. Tyler's fondest family memory was when they vacationed together in Glacier National Park in Montana. He also shared his fond memories of taking a road trip to visit family in Saskatchewan. My immediate thought to that statement was, who has family in Saskatchewan? When I asked Tyler to share his fondest memories of high school, I was informed of the time when he crushed Mr. Colby at the high school cribbage tournament. And more correctly, I don't think he said crushed, I think he said annihilated. Now, with all these young individuals heading off to college, I have heard that MIT holds some pretty wild parties. I would love to be a fly on the wall at one of those parties when Keegan, Nick, and Brad visit Tyler. Those 4 will probably be sitting together in the corner working on their weekly physics problem set, all the while all the other MIT students are feverishly partying around them. Tyler, I shall end imparting you with 2 pieces of advice, and you most definitely know what the first one will be. Eat a teaspoon of yellow mustard every day for good health for the rest of your life, and begin each day reflecting on who you are. Then bravely embrace the journey that lies ahead. Remember, all of us are Triton, and know that we will miss you. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology Beavers await your arrival. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you honors graduate and salutatorian of Triton Regional High School, Mr. Tyler John Godfrey.
Hi everyone, I'm Liv Ritchie. It's an honor to be here. I know all of us have had to do a lot of hard work to get to this position, so congratulations to everyone. And I'd like to thank Mrs. Ober, Mr. Lathrop, and anyone else involved in finding a way to still honor our accomplishments. These past 4 years have been the best of my life. I've built a work ethic that I am proud of and made so many new friends along the way. Now more than ever, I am grateful for the time I've spent at Triton. I value my education and all of the teachers who have helped guide me. One teacher in particular who has had the most influence on my academic and athletic career at Triton is Miss Scott. Miss Scott was my soccer coach as well as my basketball coach freshman year, and she was also my Spanish teacher junior year and the head of the community service club I was involved in. But above all of that, she's been my friend these past 4 years. Miss Scott has helped me grow from the scrawny, nervous freshman I was at the very first soccer preseason session to the senior that I am today. And I'm grateful for everything she has done to shape me athletically, academically, and personally. Thank you.
I'm honored to be speaking on behalf of Miss Olivia Grace Ritchie today. I have known Liv since she started her high school career when I was the JV soccer coach. It wasn't until sophomore year that I taught Liv in class, and at that point I had also coached her for basketball freshman year as well. Those first 2 years getting to know Olivia were joyful and special. Olivia has a bright and sincere smile and sparkling eyes that can light up a room. She is kind and humble, extremely polite and respectful, and an absolute dream to have on your team or in your classroom. I would call Olivia a very successful perfectionist. Any job she commits herself to, she completes to the fullest and highest level. This includes all 4 years of being a 3-sport athlete of soccer, basketball, and track and field. When I say that Liv is fast, that is a huge understatement. She's overall extremely athletic, but her speed and endurance are what really define her and set her apart. In this world as an athlete, Liv became a natural leader, leading by her actions and example more so than words. Her unassuming demeanor makes her approachable to her peers and underclassmen. The overall way she carries herself is so put together and presentable, and always with the utmost integrity. The same holds true for her academic commitment and prowess. She is a perfectionist. I have to say though, for someone who is so detailed, accurate, and thorough as most perfectionists are, she is somehow able to manage and maintain a calm and collected composure. Most of us show our stress and anxiety with much less grace than she, making her middle name quite appropriate and fitting. Her extreme intelligence will take her only so far. It is her work ethic, attitude, and committed spirit that has set her apart and will continue to do so at UConn. Liv has also been an extremely active and reliable member of community service, most recently earning merit recognition of the UN Global Goals with whom we partner. She's one of only 4 students in the entire school to have done so this year. She and her brothers have clearly been instilled with the importance of giving back to the community. I can only ascertain that it is the upbringing and values with which their parents have raised them to which this can be attributed. Clearly, Mr. and Mrs. Ritchie have done a thing or two right, and perhaps can someday write a how-to book on bringing up such polite, intelligent, hardworking, and generous children. But back to Liv. I asked a few of her closest friends to share with me some of the special attributes, habits, and traits that make Liv uniquely her. Here are a few of my favorites. She has the most contagious and unique laugh you will ever hear. No surprise with this one, she is a perfectionist in every aspect of life, including schoolwork, art, and handwriting. And I can recently attest to that because I witnessed her beautifully painting my classroom door. You can't go a day without her talking about farm life in Michigan. I'm not sure what that one's about. It sounds interesting. Her true passion in life is fishing. I'm also not sure if that is true or a joke, but either way, I think it's great, and so I'm including it. She never answers her phone because it's always on Do Not Disturb, and I can only assume that's how she gets everything accomplished that she does. She eats a banana every single day, but must eat around all of the bruises. She refuses to drink anything with fizz in it. Apparently it burns her throat. She does not have the best sense of direction, which I can relate to, Liv. Don't worry about that. And sometimes has trouble parking her car and needs a little help from a friend. She has no knowledge of pop culture, yet can somehow describe every episode of SpongeBob in detail. As you can tell, Liv definitely has a silly side to her, and that is never more apparent than when she is with her friends. I don't think I ever saw that in class, and rarely when she was playing sports, because she is so laser focused and takes her responsibilities and performance so seriously. But I always enjoyed watching them laugh and joke around together in the midst of all their hard work. With everything that has gone on, I'm so sorry we can't be doing this in person. My hope and wish for you, Liv, is to continue finding your passion and purpose at college and to keep being you, an amazing daughter, sister, friend, and student. May you live life to the fullest and never forget your days at Triton. I know I certainly won't be forgetting you and your impact you had on me and my teaching career anytime soon. I admire you and I'm so proud of your accomplishments. And although it may not be a Samoyed, being a Husky is a pretty close match. Buena suerte y espero que nos veamos pronto.
My fondest memory has actually been all of the memories that I've made at high school, like going to hockey games and dressing up for homecoming spirit week and prom, while also being able to take advantage of the education that Triton has to offer. For this event, I asked Mrs. Spinelli to be my speaker. I've only been in her class for a year, but I've learned so much. The projects that we've done in class have pushed me out of my comfort zone, have allowed me to realize that it's okay if I don't know exactly what I'm doing, because I can always ask for help. Mrs. Spinelli also made sure to spend time preparing us for the type of work that we'll do in college, which has allowed me to feel so much more comfortable during this transition.
Welcome everyone. My name is Kim Spinelli, and I've had the most sincere honor to be asked to speak for Allison Silva. I just got to know Allison this year in my nonfiction class. This beautiful and lovely young woman sat unassumingly and quietly throughout the year in my classroom. Occasionally she would add to the class discussion, but mostly she was quiet. It didn't take long for me to recognize that this elegant young woman had grace, strength, talent, and beauty beyond most. I spent a considerable amount of time trying to find words and examples that personified Allison, but they just weren't enough. Allison is someone much bigger than an anecdote. She's an all-being. She's poised and graceful, intelligent and serene, astute and intuitive, while also complex and reflective. She reminded me of a poem written by the author Sunny Carroll. called The Empowered Woman. And I'd like to read it to you as I think it exemplifies Allison so eloquently. The empowered woman, she moves through the world with a sense of confidence and grace. Yet firmly, she speaks her truth without doubt or hesitation, and the life she leads is of her own creation. She now understands what it means to live and let live, how much to ask for herself and how much to give. She has a strong yet generous heart, and the inner beauty she emanates truly sets her apart. Like the mythical phoenix, she's risen from the ashes and soared to a new plane of existence, unfettered by the things that posed such resistance. Her senses now heightened, she sees everything so clearly. She hears the wind rustling through the trees, beckoning her to live the dreams she holds so dearly. She feels the softness of her hands and muses at the strength that they possess. Her needs and desires she's learned to express. She's tasted the bitter and savored the sweet fruits of life, overcome adversity, and pushed past heartache and strife. And the one thing she never understood, she now knows to be true. It all begins and ends with you. You are Allison's parents, siblings, family, friends, educators, and everyone in Allison's world who shaped and molded her to be the celebrated and captivating woman of our future. Congratulations, Allison.
Hi, I'm Sam Bell. So one of the special things about my Triton education is that it's given me a lot of skills that aren't just purely academic and found in a normal classroom. Whether it's through electives or extracurriculars, it was really just a well-rounded education. Some of my fondest memories at Triton were at the French Exchange last April. It was just a great experience, and I'm so glad I got to go on it and learn so much about another country. And another one of my favorite experiences and fondest memories have been in the VTV room. I've taken VTV all 4 years, and whether it was anchoring or planning episodes or working on videos, it's always just been a great place for me to express myself. So I asked Mr. Lathrop to speak for me at the Honors Banquet because he's been such a great mentor over the past 4 years, and I couldn't think of anyone better to ask to speak for me. And so without further ado, Bobby Lathrop.
Thanks, Sam. It's my privilege to speak for you tonight. Believe it or not, Sam's and my paths crossed way before his 7th grade year when I met him for the first time. It was actually more like 25 years ago. My wife, who I hadn't met yet, played on the Gordon College softball team with Sam's mom, Jen. I was a music student at Gordon at the time, and I may or may not have had a crush on a girl in our department who I later found out is Sam's aunt. So that's where the story began. Fast forward to middle school chorus, and I was looking for a student who could play the piano to accompany our group on the song we were singing. I can't remember if Sam volunteered to play or if Jamie ratted him out to me, but Sam ended up accompanying the group in our spring concert, and he did a great job under a lot of pressure. That was when I witnessed what I think is Sam's superpower, his willingness to pitch in and help when people need him. So you all know that Sam is a twin. Sam is 1 minute younger than Jamie, something he's been reminded of his entire life. Jamie is older, he's younger. Jamie was first, she wins. Which was important to her, but not so much to Sam, who was much less competitive. Here are a few things you might not know about Sam. He's obsessed with beluga whales, and he has been since he was 2.5, because they're unique and beautiful. Sam has an amazing imagination. When he was young, he would always go to bed to the same music, a Christmas album by Michael W. Smith, that he would play every night, year-round. As he listened to the music, he would often describe fantastic and detailed scenes to his parents, as he envisioned them as if he was a movie director. As he got older, he wrote scripts for his Playmobil figurines that he turned into stop-motion animated films. Sam also loves dogs. When it was time to get his first job, Sam agreed, but only if he could work with the people he got along with best, dogs. So he got a job at a doggy daycare. Maybe someday he'll be a doggy talent scout, because his own dog, Stella, has appeared in more VTV episodes than anyone else on our crew. And finally, Sam is a published author. Before he could even write, he and his parents would make little books out of cut paper stapled together. Sam would tell them what to write, and he would go back and illustrate each page. His first book was called Super Cow. And according to Mom, since he was in 3rd grade, Sam has written almost every day. Not because he has to, but because he loves it. The last time I checked, Sam has 7 novels available for sale on Amazon. You should go get one, they're pretty good. Given his passion for writing, Sam's choice of a major in psychology seems a little mystifying. I admit to being more than a little shocked when he told me. But then I reflected back on the 6 years I've known him and the countless times his real superpower was on display. Like when I needed a video director for football games on freezing cold nights, or graduations in the blazing sun, and Sam showed up. Or when elementary school theater workshop kids needed technical help for their shows, and Sam volunteered his time. Or the missions trips he's taken to help less fortunate people. And then there was that time he stepped up and played the piano for his 8th grade chorus. There's a cinematic camera technique that we study in video production called rack focus, where the camera changes its focus from the object in the foreground to an object in the background, revealing the depth of the scene. It's a powerful visual. It also reminds me of Sam's preference to focus beyond himself to the needs of others. Sam will be attending Middlebury College in Vermont. I have no doubt he will do well because he's a good student. He'll be majoring in psychology, and I also have no doubt that one day he will use it to help others because he's a great person. Congratulations, Sam.
Good evening. I'm Patrick Kelly, principal of Triton High School. I want to thank you all for coming to our honors banquet this evening and helping us to celebrate the top 10% of our graduating class. I want to thank as well Megan Ober and Bob Lathrop for putting together our program this evening. Megan and Bob took what had once just been an idea for how to make the honors banquet still worked and turned it into a wonderful evening for all of us to share. Thank you as well to our faculty and staff for sharing your memories and telling your stories of such wonderful times with your students. To our students, Jamie and Sam, Eric and Jonah, Sarah and Adriana, Sophia and Jordan, Lena and Tyler, Ivy and Maddie, Samantha and Keegan, Nick and Olivia and Allison. Congratulations on this tremendous accomplishment. This is just the beginning of your journey. You are all part of this special group because of a combination of hard work, persistence, support, and talent. Take those abilities and use those gifts that you have to make a positive impact on the lives of others. Congratulations again on this accomplishment. We're so incredibly proud of you and can't wait to see what you're able to do in the future. Have a wonderful evening and good night.